Hi everyone, it's me, the Super Libra Power. I know it's been a minute. Yeah, I could go straight into this, but I always like to talk and chat and check up on everyone and see what everyone's been going through. Well, I live in a new space now, and as you can see, I've had a little bit more time energetically to really focus on my art, and my partner so graciously did my makeup, and I feel so cute in it. Yes, please just admire face because she's giving all of it today. Um, yeah, I am in a much better space than what I was, and it's really giving me the literal space to process some of the emotions that I've been experiencing over the past few months, which hopefully we'll cover in today's reading and some of the astrology forecast for the next month. Which is what we'll be discussing. January 2023. Happy New Year also. It's a brand new year. We have lots to anticipate for the year. Big major transits that are occurring this year that will set the tone for the next many years to come. So I hope everybody is ready for that and really ready to make their dreams come true and claim their power, their very unique and innate powers that don't always follow the rules of society, because you know that we're rebels over here in this corner. So yeah, we can get started. I wanted to share with you all the current astrology forecast for the remaining month of January. Today, of course, is this full moon in Cancer. We're having mommy vibe energy this day. What have you been feeling? We're really getting in touch with our feelings and the homes that we carry inside of us. What's being brought to light in terms of like the feelings that you carry with you every day. We're going to do a tarot reading for each of the elements to kind of get a feel as to how you can make the most of this transit. I know lots of people have questions and really want to harness that energy on how to take better care of themselves. Then after that, I wanted to discuss a little bit about the Mercury retrograde that we're going through. It lasts until the 18th. Okay, I'm getting off track. Hey y'all, so I wanted to go over the list of January transits that we'll be experiencing for the next month. And then what will I do? I'm gonna go through the full moon in Cancer reading for each of the elements. So water, fire, earth, air. And your sign will correlate, somewhere in between. So you can get that good energy reading and take in that energy. It is Mercury retrograde. Yes, that's what we're dealing with. Mush. I'm going to go over the list of astrological transits for the month of January 2023. There's a lot going on in this month alone. Lots of good. So maybe you've been feeling like you've been really having to sit day by day, just taking it one step at a time, like a little turtle. And as peaceful as that may be to some that want to take it slow and steady, for others it can be a little disorienting. Like, oh my gosh, I have to worry about like every physical thing at its core level. It's like taking blocks of cement and having to stack them one by one without technology. It feels like the dark ages right now, I'm pretty sure. Alternatively, we can find ourselves like becoming a slave to work in like the recesses of autopilot, with the Mercury being in retrograde. I think you can start to feel this like ambitious corporate fast-paced individual that can just hustle to get work done, you kind of like feel that part of you regressing to the back of you, whereas your subconscious is being uplifted more. That pairs well with our moon in Cancer that we're experiencing tonight. When we're not on autopilot, who is this person? Who is this person that supports us, keeps us safe, keeps us pleasured, keeps us enduring, helps us move forward? Who is that person? And how do those systems replicate outside of us? On January 11th, Mars in retrograde ends. Yes, y'all. She's been retrograding since September. Yeah. Have you been feeling like you could stay in bed, or you could continue through cycles over and over and over again and get lost? Well, that stops all in the 11th, and our minds and our bodies will be uplifted. Personally, I'm just trying to keep an open mind. For a minute now, I've been feeling like I'm in a simulation. Like, events that I wouldn't have anticipated happening happened. And it's just so messed up because some of them were like deep down rooted fears. And when these fears came out, I kind of realized that I didn't really believe that they would come true. They were just fears that I had. And, you know, sometimes when we become over acquainted with our fears, we start to think that that's our reality. And I think I've really been learning that subconsciously we say things to ourselves, or subconsciously we allow people around us to say things, to think things. And that can start to change the nature in which we exist in. I don't want to be a part of that. I want to have a more solid role in the directions that I take in real life. And I want to be able to help to influence, you know, those ideas take form in my physical life, as opposed to just letting them exist inside this orb that is my consciousness and live out fantasies and ideas in my head. Like, no. It's time to get those ideas off the ground, because fear and paranoia and sadness will find a way. But you have to make that space to create. That space to create and be ambitious. Did you try a new social media platform? Did you try a new way to interact with friends, coworkers, family? If you did, then you succeeded. Mars in Gemini is all about expanding the limitations that our minds engage with our outward reality. Mars in Gemini is all about how we engage with technology, how we use it, what we're thinking about it, what we're putting into it, what is it being used for? You know, how can it be done more efficiently? How can we get more out of this? And Mars is about taking that action and just going forward with it. For once, I'm wearing undies. My shirt and my hair match. The 18th of January, Mercury retrograde in Capricorn is over. We're currently dealing with slow and steady movements. Capricorn is calculative, ambitious, hungry, and a Mongol. Okay. We have all of those ideas. We're kind of like shoveling the ground, searching for inspiration. We're going back and asking, is this thing or object from my past worth carrying with me into the future? Or is it just dead weight? This is a time for us to assess what it is that we want to build foundationally into our futures. 2 days after that, Capricorn season will be officially over. We'll still have some remnants of that because Mercury will be in Capricorn still. After the retrograde is over, we'll continue to go through our period of Mercury in Capricorn directly until it transits into Aquarius. I'm not sure, maybe a week or two after. I haven't looked into the exact details. I'm taking things as they come for this Capricorn transit, okay? We're keeping it cool. We're taking it day by day, motion by motion. Bring on Aquarius, party, hearty. You know, it's about time that we get out of our shells, start thinking revolution, air sign shit. We're elevated. We don't care about these structures. We don't care about these foundations. We'll just pass through in like the outer realms of this. Because Aquarius is ruled by Uranus, which, funny enough, we're going to get to on the subject of very soon. On the 22nd of January, 2 days after we enter into Aquarius season, Uranus in Taurus goes from being in retrograde to being direct. And do you know what that means? Money, cash, money. Uranus has been retrograde since August 6th of 2022. I don't know if y'all been seeing those posts that have been floating around social media that have been saying stuff like, I don't know about you, but January to July and July to December were two separate forms of lifestyles. Things just radically changed. And that probably has a great deal to do with Uranus going retrograde, you know, like Uranus and Taurus, even though notoriously, you know, we've been in it since 2019, right? A little bit of 2018. But it's been about revolutionizing the way that we Taurus, you know, luxury, traditional systems, our stubbornness, you know, what we keep our heels stand firmly in. Do we need to change that? We do. We need to radicalize that. The way that we incur income, the way that we self-care or community care. How do we replicate that in our modern day society? How do we revolutionize that? And, you know, Taurus is stubborn and, you know, it wants to be cozy, it wants to be comfortable, but with being in Uranus, It needs to go out and flourish and change constantly. When it's retrograde, you know, all of these, don't get me wrong. Uranus makes us very optimistic, and we can't think about anything else but expanding our resources and expanding our outside world. But when it's retrograde, she's just not giving. She doesn't really care about revolutionizing. She wants a break. Let's do things the same. Let's default. I don't have any ideas. Can we come back to this later? And that has pretty much been the energy since it's gone retrograde. In the meantime, though, we're still pressed to change. Things have to change, but they may not move in the ways that we want them to. So, once it ends, what are those ideas that have been tingling away? What have you been working on behind the scenes and buried beneath the etheric surface of life? The last transit that I have is a witch sabbath. Embol, I don't know how to pronounce it. There's gonna be a witch sabbath. I don't think I've ever really celebrated it, but some of you may. And it's spelled Imbolc, okay? Imbolc. I don't know how to pronounce it, but it happens on January 31st. It's basically like pre-spring, post-winter. And I really don't know much about it, but I wanted to mention it so that, you know, people who may want to have a reason to commune and feel that interdimensional energy, you know, we're in between winter and spring. If you're the type of person that, you know, works more with magic and energy of the in-between, which we have been in for a while now, if I'm being honest, that's something that you can celebrate. In the future, I'll make sure that I have my research down packed for the witch sabbaths, because I've been really wanting to explain those and help to provide ritual tips for my viewers. So that pretty much settles all of the astrological transits, the major astrological transits for this month of January. Which one are you looking forward to the most? Do you have any placements in those signs? Are you a Uranus girl? Are you more mercurial? Yeah, let me know your thoughts and let me know what you all have been going through. I want to speak to the brainy Astro people too, who have lots of knowledge on these transits. What have you been noticing? How do you anticipate being more prepared as the year moves forward? How do you plan to take advantage of these transits? I'll of course be back some point or another to help alleviate the masses with more timely information on the astrological transits of this year. So before I close this out, I wanted to center us all back into the present moment. It's the full moon in Cancer. Let's commune. So for my first reading, I'll be doing earth signs. Okay. So for the full moon in Cancer, earth signs can expect 4 of Swords energy reversed. Okay. Let me go into the recesses of my mind and try to remember what Four of Swords is. Thank you. Okay. So for earth signs, this is funny because I actually wrote this. So for earth signs, the main subject for that this full moon in Cancer is going to illuminate will be the Four of Swords reversed, which is all about rest and alternatively restlessness. How does restlessness show up for you emotionally and bodily? Earth signs, I gotta hand it to you. You guys have a lot of pent-up energy, a lot of pent-up stress, especially in the bones and in your muscles. You carry a lot of tension there. The full moon in Cancer will basically remind you that you really do need that nurturing energy. And sometimes for you, that may look like completely stopping. And I know a lot of you are thinking, well, it's never going to get done if I don't do it. And I don't think that's true. I think that if it were meant to be done, then it would get done. And if it doesn't, then maybe you need to assess how the systems that you have in place don't allow for you to take that necessary rest that you need. I'm just going to keep moving on because I can come back to this and edit more later. So for water signs during this full moon in Cancer of 2023, water signs can expect justice. I really do see a big turning point happening for water signs right now. Especially for Cancers, this being their sign of, opposite, the sun in Capricorn. Seeing a lot of those plans that you saw manifesting for yourself during Cancer season of last year. Those plans that you've put in motion. How things are finally coming to a stopping point. What is it that you've accomplished? What is it that you have achieved? And I really feel like your achievements are going to come to a physical, completion after all of this point. You've worked really hard over the course of the year. And with the Cancer full moon, you can expect to kind of feel that gratification of like, yes, so now it's done. Yes, so I can put this to rest. The Justice card is also that of Libra and balance. So any comparisons that you can make to like where you were last year versus where you are this year. How can you celebrate that? Moving on. So for fire signs, for this full moon in Cancer, they can expect the Chariot, very interestingly enough, which is the sign of Cancer. You're really going to be taking the initiative with the full moon in Cancer. Expect to be in a more dominant role, initiating projects. I would say that you guys are kind of like the forces of energy we need in order to kind of like clear out some of the gook that we've been feeling with, like compounded on by like the transits that we started last year before we entered into the new year. I really feel like the heightened emotions and everything that people are feeling with this water sign energy will allow you to really come through and purify that energy. Don't be afraid to take risks. Don't be afraid to just start initiating those projects. Like I said earlier, a lot that has been in retrograde. Okay, yes, fire signs as like a literal tool of purification for all of us. So a lot of your ideas and the initiatives that you take are really going to kind of like help to clear our minds as all of the retrogrades that have been in effect pretty much since last year make their way to its end in this month. For inspiration, think of any women in your life that are especially powerful or influential to you. Women or femme people that really get stuff done. You know, I can see a lot of you, like maybe you didn't have like men or masculine people in your life that maybe gave two fucks about you. I don't know why I came out like that, but it did. And instead, the women of your tribe really had to come forward and, you know, take up the brunt of that work. Now would be a really good time to show them your appreciation for how you've made your way in the world and have been able to, you know, come up with confidence and assuredness and power in your life. This can even show up, you know, spiritually or astrally with goddesses or ancestors that you have. Just make sure that you're calling onto them for power and appreciation during this full moon in Cancer energy, because you're really going to need it. I feel like your purpose now for the collective is really important. The term I thought of was like garbage man. And I know that sounds like non-desirable, but think about what garbage men do. They clear off all the trash off of the street. So you're really kind of like helping to set a new tone for the energy that we're about to bring in, literally with your movements and your ambition and your motivations. So I would say just like go in and get that shit done, because you already know what needs to be done. Finally, for my air signs for this full moon in Cancer, we'll be experiencing the full moon in Cancer by way of the Seven of Cups. It's going to be very prosperous for air signs. Most of the retrogrades that we're experiencing, either the planet that rules it is an air sign, or an air sign is being affected. Primarily Mars being in Gemini in retrograde since last September. The ideas and downloads are just going to be flooding into your mind. All the doors are going to be opening for you. You're going to be able to see so clearly now, because we've been in this mental fog and you've been really having to assess, am I on autopilot? What does it look like when I think outside of my box? You know, when you're not in like nervous mode and just like trying to latch onto the next moving thing, when everything slows down, what is it that you're actually thinking about? And what are you creating emotional bonds to? Because, you know, often, you know, we really try to be logical about things, and sometimes we can be a little too logical and kind of miss out on, you know, the emotional gems and connections that we're making along the way. So this full moon will be really important in you finding out what actually just feels like home and what feels special to you and what you're going to take with you. And that's going to be imperative, because a lot of doors are going to be opening. And when these doors open, you know, you don't want to make the wrong decision, right? The year for 2023, the number for this year is literally 7, and that's all about our independence. So this will probably be a decision that you will solely have to make on your own. Seeing that we're connecting with your emotions and that of the heart, it's really important for you to illuminate yourself to the community that actually exists outside of you. Air signs like to act like they're, you know, loners sometimes. Some of us air signs like to like disassociate ourselves from the collective so that we can get a grasp on our own mental faculties. Some of us, you know, we can tend to only see people as a means to an end, which is unhealthy and unfair. So moving forward, you're really going to have to sit down and ask yourself what it is that you're trying to feel. And this Capricorn energy is going to look you hard in the face and be like, realistically, what are you drawn to? And if you don't like what you see, then you really need to start putting forward the steps to take in order to start transforming that. And it's not going to happen overnight. You know, like a eureka moment, everything that you've been doing up to this point is going to change you. No matter how much you may try to like phase out, you're still experiencing it. You're not on pause. Even if you refuse to acknowledge what's happening outside of you, it still happened. It's still happening. It's still existing. And it still affects you. So I really hope you all enjoyed my full moon in Cancer reading for this year. Like I said, it's been really hazy lately with, you know, Mercury being retrograde. Like the thoughts are there, but like being tapped in like I used to, or like a month ago, you know, it's not coming out in the same way. And I think that's okay because I get to experiment with something a little bit different. I'm an air sign, of course, so sometimes I can get stuck in the autopilot of things too, and it can really blindside me from really having fun and trying new things for the sake of trying new things and not just because I'm bored or because my environment isn't providing me with what I need, just intentionally being like, I'm going to do something different and it's going to be cool. So thank you all for sitting with me this evening. I hope you all have a wonderful full moon in Cancer. Feel all the loving, warm, motherly energy. If you connect with that, get you a good meal on your stomach, and you know, just enjoy it. Just enjoy it and be at home with it. Be at peace with it. You know, put in you what you want to get out and all that good stuff. Hope I can see you all again. Thanks for coming to my corner. Peace and love, everyone. So, Earth signs, I had to have a little special segment for you because while I was reading your Four of Swords reversed card, I feel like it was very straightforward. And I also recognized that it was really an alignment of something that I wrote about you guys in my personal journal just last night, actually. And I wanted to share that with you all because I really do feel like it covers the intention of the card and you can hear a lot more words from me, and hopefully it can kind of help you all to connect and identify with just more from the card. So I wrote down, this full moon in Cancer will be elevating feelings of rest, receiving and giving care, being cared for, having emotional responses over logical ones. I really wanted to highlight that because, you know, as Earth signs, we really try to be structured, controlled. We don't like people to see us when we're down. And I really relate to that. I have 2 Capricorn placements and my Venus is in Virgo. So structurally sound is the way to go. I totally agree with you. But, you know, we need to allow our structurally sound, you know, fortresses to allow and grow with space to hold our emotional ones. And sometimes it's not always going to hold. Sometimes we're going to be filled up to the brim with water, and instead of that water just evaporating like nothing, it pours out of all the windows and doors and corners and creeks and stuff. And this doesn't necessarily mean you need to batten down the fortress and like seal all the cracks and stuff like that. Maybe you just need more space. Maybe these are emotions that need to be taking up more space inside of you. I wrote, Mercury retrograde in Capricorn delays the confidence in our structured, logic-geared thinking. So like I said, we're really vulnerable right now, and it'd be in all of our best interests to just let it take its course. I know for me personally, when I talk to people about my emotions these days, I go out of my way to not backpedal and be like, oh, I'm just saying this because blah, 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 blah. Here's my explanation why I am talking to you about this. Like, no, just let people, I personally have to let people experience my emotions the way that they are without apologizing, without giving an explanation. And I'm a Libra, so I work a lot with like giving and receiving and like push and pull and like kind of gauging what that interaction is like. So, I lay my emotions out to bear and gauge the reactions I get. And if I get reactions that my Libraness feels like, okay, this gives me space to still exist as myself, then, I'll keep it. Or that's like a person or an interaction that I can carry with me. And alternatively, if not, then that's like, okay, this is not a space for me and I'm going to have to make more space. That could mean a separation or it can mean an expansion. And that's something for you to figure out if what's necessary. But give yourself time. Not everything is black and white right now. We're literally in a simulation of multiple retrogrades. Just imagine that the world is how you want it with what you have right now, and just be yourself and give yourself that space. I wrote, I know what I'm feeling. I'm logical. I recognize that. But it doesn't always mean that I know what my feelings are. And I really feel like what that means is, so yeah, I feel sad. Like, I get it. I feel sad, whatever. But what is this feeling doing for me? Where is it coming from? What can it show me? Like, all of those things that I don't always know. I can be talking to someone purely out of my emotions, and like inside of me, my psyche's like, what are you doing? This doesn't mean anything. What is this? We can't structure this or put this in a box. And that's okay. Just let yourself have it. Let yourself have that moment where things don't make sense. You have time to reflect on it or nit and pick at it later if you need to fine tune it, but at least give yourself the grace to be accepted for having these emotions. Give yourself the space to have happiness within the many range of emotions that you feel. You can be happy and sad at the same time. It's not or all the time. It's not if all the time. I also wanted to remind you all to stay nourished and eating foods that are good for you. And when I say this, I mean sometimes when you slow down, it's junk food time. Sometimes that's what it means. Know when it's time to do that and just do it. You're not doing anything bad to yourself. You're not self-sabotaging. If you can acknowledge that this is something you actually need to consume, food-wise, media-wise, whatever, just do it. You're relaxing. Just identify what it means to relax for you and do that. So I think that's all that I have for you all today. Again, it's the Four of Swords for you all. Rest is key. You're going to be restless a little bit. All of these retrogrades are going to be lifting us out of this fog, but then you may feel like you have to tether into so many different directions, and you'll be looking to yourself to like maintain that foundation. Just stop. But yes, that is all I have for you all. Thanks for tuning in.